Hey guys, we're just gonna go ahead and jump right into this video with how I use Propstream. I'm just gonna go ahead and open it up here on my browser. So I already researched the property that I'm gonna go ahead and submit an offer on. So what I do is I just go up to the search bar and I just go ahead and enter my address in that I'm going to be looking at today, using as an example for this video. So once the property comes up, it will basically be like a main screen that shows the details on that property. So you have all the listings that are nearby this property. It has a MLS tab, it has a pre-foreclosure tab, and it has a foreclosure tab. So you can go ahead and check those out if you like when you look at a property on Propstream. What I do is from this point on, I like to click on the details button for the property. I usually zoom in to the neighborhood, and I go over to that little area and go ahead and click on the details button. So once it loads, my computer is acting really slow. Once it loads and I get into the detail part of the property, I like to just do basically like an overview. This first box basically shows like, the size of the house, how many beds, how many baths, goes over the square footage, the year build. It will tell you if it's off market, a single family residence, if it was financed. This app actually gives you their own value of the property, and it will help you to find like comparables. It has the mortgage info, and it actually has a rehab calculator that I've used before as well. But what I'll do is I'll scroll down to the property details. I like to look at the owner. I like to look at the mailing address to see if they're in the same property that I'm looking at. And you can also find that by clicking on the tax information bracket as well. But the next thing I'll usually do is click on the mortgage transaction history, because I want to look and see how many loans have been taken out on this house, if they still owe a lot, because then you're really probably not going to have a deal if the house has many mortgages or financing out against it. So this one was looking really good, to be honest. The next thing I usually will do is go ahead and scroll over to the comparables. But if you click on the tax, like I mentioned earlier, it shows like, this is where the owner's at, this is where they're having their information sent for their taxes. So it kind of reassures to me that they are living there, they're receiving mail, and that they're going to get it if I were to send like a direct mailer to try and purchase their home. So once I get done with that, I click on the comparables, and this right here, you can basically search under public record or the MLS for properties that were sold, bought cash, whatever, or you can click both. I like to just go under the MLS tab. So once I click on the MLS tab, I also like to just go back 6 months if I can on the comparables in that market. I don't like to go back any farther than that, because then it kind of makes it seem like properties really aren't selling in that area. But if I have to go back more than 6 months, I will, just so I can gather some information. And another thing I do is I change the distance to 1.5 miles out. And I try to I verify the square footage on the property, and I want to get as similar as possible so that I can try and get a good market value on the house right now, and then a possible ARV. So I will go up to the top and I'll look back through the information and just make sure that I have everything as close as possible. So when these comparables populate over here on the right hand side, I know that I'm going against good options here to give me the best possible comparable. So on the right hand side, it shows all of the properties, but I will narrow it down to closer in that neighborhood. So that's why I scroll in, and when I try to this little like pencil symbol over here on the map where you see my cursor at, when you click on it, you can actually draw and block out specifically the area that you want to look at. And for some reason, this day, I don't know if the app was glitching, but when I tried to click on it, it just did not work. It would not stick when I was trying to click the surrounding area to basically focus in on that specific neighborhood and not cross over like the main street. But back over to the right panel, it basically will show you the date and the price of the property and how many days it was on the market. It gives you the address, and this basically helps you figure out what you're looking at with, you know, a current as is value, and then going ahead and researching a little bit more and trying to figure out an ARV so that you can, you know, make sure your numbers work when you're creating this deal, your wholesale deal. So I did go back over, and at this point, I'm narrowing it down. I go over to back over to my comparables list, and I just unchecked all of the houses because you don't want to try and compare it against all of these properties because they're in a little bit farther out than I would like. So I just clicked down to number 6 because if you zoom in, you can see they all stay within that same vicinity. It goes up to 6. I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 right there above the blue pin. The blue pin is where the actual property is at. So at this point, I did try to go in and use the block tool, but you see it was like not letting me do it that day. I don't know if it was the app or what was going on with it, but it just would not let me go ahead and draw my usual square that I do to just focus in on a specific area on that map. I tried over and over again, but it wouldn't work. So basically it's the same thing as what I did with unchecking and only clicking how numbers 1 through 6. It gave me what I wanted. So as you see, when I go back and I click 1 through 6, if you look up at the top right under the comparable properties, it actually gives you an average sell price and then price per square foot. And then it gives you an average days on the market as well, which I love that because again, this right here is going to show you and help you and guide you on trying to figure out some baseline numbers here so that you can orchestrate and work out your wholesale deal. I not only use Propstream, but you'll see in a little bit that I go back and forth between Zillow and Realtor and Propstream because I like to look at the properties to see what the insides look like if possible. Before I even try to approach it, send out a letter, cold call the owner, do whatever. I like to try and look at the property. Then I like to try and look at the comparable properties as well. So what I'll do is I'll copy and then I will go ahead and paste it on Zillow, and I'll try and see if I can get some inside pictures of the property. On Zillow, I found that most of the time it's only a satellite view of the front of the house. And that's not what I want. I'm trying to see the inside of the house. But I found that when I use Realtor, and then also you can find there's estimate on here too. So that, like I said, this helps you really get like some ballpark numbers so you can try and orchestrate a wholesale deal and make sure that you're not really far off and you can make some type of profit on your deal. But what I'll do is I'll copy it and I will just go ahead and paste it into Realtor, and usually I can get inside pictures of the property. So I use Dealulator, which is from Flipman. Shout out to him because he has helped me with my wholesale journey a whole bunch. He gives out a ton of free information. Check out his YouTube channel as well. But Zillow will show you more comparables in that area, and I'll usually click like on the highest sold comparable in that neighborhood and try to look at the inside to see, you know, how many upgrades they did, how renovated it is. So again, I can get like a ballpark number on how high I can push my ARV on the property. That's so important because that's going to seal the deal for you, because you need to be able to get a property that's going to have a good ARV in order for you to go ahead and pass it off to your investor, your flipper, and make some type of money off of the deal. So I just went ahead and popped in the address of the house that I'm actually trying to wholesale. Actually, no, this was, I think, the property. No, actually, this is the property that I'm trying to wholesale. So on realtor.com, it actually shows that, you know, their price right now for the property is $513,000, which Zillow and Propstream are saying in the 400s. So these numbers just give you an idea and they help you. But I was so happy that I was able to see the property and view it and see what kind of condition it was in. So I'll just scroll through and I'll just take a peek at it, and I can definitely see it would need upgraded. It's not in that bad of shape though, so I was really excited about this property. It looks like a lot of cosmetic. The bones look real good on the house. Doesn't look like it needs major work, but you never know until you actually really get in there and do a walkthrough, which eventually I'll do once I reach out to the owner and if they budge on trying to sell their property. So what I will do is I will pretty much work together all my numbers between Realtor and Zillow. Sometimes I even use home.com and try to work out the deal. And then once I get my numbers together, I will go up to Dealulator, and like this was just an estimate right here. I just put in fake numbers just to give an example. So for this property, I was just pushing that I could do it at 585 ARV on it. Always want to keep the investment at 70%, and I just estimated we would have about 100K on repairs. So it's gonna go ahead and calculate for me. I don't need to do the math. It's gonna say the maximum allowable offer is $309,500, but I want a $10,000 profit. So my price as a wholesaler that I need to offer to the owner would be the $299,500. So this calculator is literally like my lifeline. Like, I love this thing. Yeah, I could always write it out on paper, but it just saves so much time when I'm looking at hundreds of properties a day. Who wants to go through all that and keep writing out their whole math equation to figure out their numbers? So Dealulator.com, this comes from Flipman. I love it. Check it out if you're a new wholesaler and you need help. Check out his page. He has a lot of good content, but this is what I use. So yeah, this is pretty much it. It's pretty simple, pretty laid back. I love Propstream. It looks like they upgraded their program, so I would definitely check it out. But that, if you guys have any questions, thank you so much for stopping by and watching this video. Definitely leave me a comment if you have any questions. Feel free to email me as well, whatever way is easiest for you. I hope you guys have a good rest of the day. Talk to you later and see you on the next one.